Okay. My sweet, beautiful sisters. It's February, which Black History Month to me is Black Love Month. And it's also been Valentine's Day. That's Love Day.
Yes.
And so I thought a perfect question would be, what did your childhood teach you about Black love? And you can interpret that any way that you want to interpret it. I'll start out because I know it could be a question that people need to think about, but I tell people that I have had a new understanding of what the relationship that I had with my parents taught me about what love is, because my dad died at 8.5 when I was young, about 8 years old. And so was my mom. And now I realize that the maintenance man that I thought was just working on the house was actually the maintenance man that was working on my mother too. Well, I didn't realize that back then. But what I realized though is that she never had like this main man figure. And she never made me feel like having a man was really a significant thing. She always gave very strong feminine energy, and a man is something nice to have. And not that I have not been madly in love most of my life.
You don't say.
Some real, some not.
Somebody's son.
Whatever. But I feel as if, and you know, it's funny that I have people that have been in my life for so long. You know, I've learned about myself because I did not have an understanding. Like you think you get what people are going through, but sometimes your experience is so dramatically different that you really are like, what the fuck is wrong with her? Like, you don't get it. And I feel guilty for the things I didn't get when it came to love. But I don't think that I didn't see how beautiful a man and woman together was. I was just like, okay, he was here. That was great. We're going to cry, but it's been 3 weeks. What are we doing next? What, you know, and I don't think I understood it like I understand now. So that question was actually very personal for me because it was a personal epiphany for me about how my childhood affected how I see it. And right now I'm talking about romantic love.
Oh, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, for me. But you can talk about any love you have. And don't get me wrong, there's other cases in my family, but we ain't trying to get that right. We need more. We need way more wine. But I don't know. Any thoughts? Anybody thinks about like how they think about love now? Because they say, which is scary when you have kids, what they see very much affects what they do.
Right.
And it could be to go the opposite though too. It doesn't mean they're going to do the same.
It's a deep question.
It's a deep question. Yeah.
Because I don't know about y'all, but it wasn't Cosby love.
No.
I'm not trying to be politically incorrect.
Yes.
But we didn't talk about love. It was I think what you saw and what it taught me was what I knew what I didn't want. Okay. I knew what my expectation would be, because I think, at least in my space, I saw what I didn't like about it. Right?
Well, let me ask you this though.
Sure.
When you're talking, and this just came to my head.
Sure.
Do you think that when you were looking at your parents, you even thought that it was love, or was it marriage? Like, do we separate the two
Exactly.
things?
It was marriage. It was marriage.
I was taught marriage.
Yeah, and you know, the struggle was real. And so
I saw them fight.
yeah,
I saw
exactly. So you saw this struggle, right?
Right.
And then I remember even seeing my grandparents divorce.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so I saw marriage, and I saw relationships that failed, and I saw relationships that were all right, but I knew what I didn't want. So I thought,
I saw partnership. I remember when I got divorced or was getting divorced, I felt almost ashamed because I was like no, my grandparents and my parents' generation, no one got divorced. You just stayed. It was a partnership. So I felt crazy. Like, oh, here I come with the first divorce. Like, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, here I am, the first one. And, my parents are like, oh, you could just stay and work it out. So, I saw partnership. I saw family. I felt partnership. I did not see romance. But I felt the love between my parents. But I did not see the romance. And I understood the love more after my mom passed away. Like it is.
Oh yeah.
I saw it more of what my father felt for her and what she meant to him. He showed it more in her death than he did in her life.
Interesting.
Or you see it as they're older versus when they're in the thick.
When they're in the thing, they were raising 3 kids.
Right,
They were a partnership. One came home early and cooked dinner. The other one came home and went straight to helping us with homework. It was like we're doing life.
Right.
I didn't see them go out for. I didn't see my father bring home anything for Valentine's Day. But as we got older, my father brings Valentine's Day. Like it's just it's I don't know, it's evolution. But I did not see any.
Well, I think you have the freedom.
They didn't go on dates.
I know that may sound crazy, but if you're a person who is as a Black family or as Black people, I think the struggle is real.
It is real.
And so when you're struggling,
Exactly.
loving is a luxury,
Right?
Because the love is that I'm willing to go through this fucking struggle with you.
Right. I think
it's
love
not
then,
romance.
I think love then was security for me. What I knew was my mother and father were home every night, and it was peaceful.
So you think that defines what love is to you?
For me, it was I saw a partnership. I saw my father cook, clean, whatever. My mother worked it out of what needed to be done between them based on schedules and what needed to be done. I saw a partnership, and I felt loved. I just felt secure. It was a steady. It was an even. It wasn't a lot of drama. It wasn't any low, but they were there. They were home, and to me, that was just love. I guess security.
That's interesting.
It was security.
Well,
I didn't wonder. I don't remember a night where there was one night when my father did not come home, and I remember my mother locking him out.
Right.
One night in all them years,
Where was he?
Huh?
Where was he?
Out playing poker.
Oh, okay.
And
when he was done, he knew not to come
right.
home.
No, he came home, but my mother would not let him in. Right. And he's knocking on my door like, Tammy, open the door, let daddy in. And my mother's at the door like, if you step 1 foot out that bed to open that door. And I was like this. And my father like, Tammy, open the door. And she was like, I dare you to move. But other than that, like I can remember that one time. Other than that, I felt secure. We were home every night. We had dinner together. I never wondered like, where's my father? Like, where's my mother? I just felt secure. Yeah. And I guess that was love for me.
I think love. As I get older, and I realize the love that my parents had was passionate, dysfunctional love.
Yeah.
My dad met my mom when he was 15 and she was 13, and he crashed her birthday party. And he realized, he said, Miss Hattie, which was my grandma, I'm going to marry her. And I think as I've gotten older, I realize, even when you think about love, what love really is. I don't think, my mom has never, after my parents divorced, after 20-something years, over 25 years being married together, nearly 28. She never had another lover. He was the
glad
love.
you know.
Be glad.
It might have been a maiden.
Be glad. Well, let me tell you the opposite side of that.
She actually said that she has never been with another man. He was the love of her life.
Is that different for men versus women? That's a whole other question.
It's a good question. I mean, their marriage was so dysfunctional. Where it was abuse, it was all of the things that you would be, I think that they loved each other passionately. I think my dad was very broken, didn't know what love was. My mom grew up during the age where you were supposed to have a mom and a dad. She didn't have a dad. He was one of those dads that went and got the loaf of bread and never came back.
Yeah.
So during those times in those early 40s, you don't have a dad. So her definition of what that commitment, when you think about partnership and doing that, that's what it was. But I can honestly say now, that the passion and love that they have for each other, picking blackberries, doing peaches, going and having picnics and going to the beach. When I did marry, and my mom said, her and my dad used to sit back and look at my marriage and say, and she would say, Willie, we want our daughter to have that kind of love. And my mom said, I didn't have it. You were always by yourself. You got a daughter, you were always just with her. We long for you to have that type of love that they had, where they put us in the car. So even though their relationship was, you know, when you talk about that peace, you know, peace wasn't a thing where, you know, when my dad didn't, after a certain time, we didn't know what we were going to get that night, depending on how he came through the door. But then a week or so would pass after that traumatic thing, and we would be on our way picking blackberries, doing strawberries.
So you had
highs and lows, and so
but
it was such an amazing.
Right.
When I saw it together, it was like, but my mom has never been with another man.
But
do you think your father? I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that. I always see women now that end things like, I protect my peace, I want my peace. I said, I think a lot of people are lying. I think a lot of people don't want peace. I think that when you get older, you're honest about what you want. And sometimes peace isn't it. Sometimes peace is exhausting, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think that you have to decide what works for you at certain points of your life, and both things can be addictive, right? Because you can be addicted to the peace, but I think you could be addicted to the highs and the lows, because those highs are high. And, you know, you look at like your parents, and sometimes you're like, oh, he was terrible. And people will like say, oh, this was happened. But then they had some of the greatest, most incredible probably experiences that they could ever have with anybody else. And I do think that sometimes people need to be honest and say, it sounds right to say I want peace, but sometimes you don't fucking want peace. Sometimes Mom told me when it comes, she's like, you're always building some shit, right? Truly bars, right? So she said, you like a level of chaos. She told me, you know, some people like, I just want a job. I don't want to have to think about it. I just want to do it easy. And that's real for some people. And some people, you have to say, I recognize that I have to feel a certain level of pressure. Like I have owned professionally that I am not happy if I'm not a level of challenged and stressed. Which is why I went from like super corporate to like, I am going to be a creative. Right? Because it's stressful. And so, I don't know. I think that's what I mean. Like what it taught you about love. So what do you think that you trended which way?
Well, I think that after I was on my own, I didn't really believe in it. I did not believe in love. As in a romantic love sense. I did not believe in monogamy because I didn't see it. At an age when, you know, I think in 1988, it just seemed like monogamy was a thing that you did. You went up to college, you met somebody, that was your boyfriend. And I tried it. I failed. Because monogamy naturally didn't come natural to me. I didn't really believe in it.
Do you believe in it now? Because you know it's changed. They were saying they just came out with a study.
I don't think it's natural
of people today, and it's something like 30% of couples are open to open marriages. It's like very different. So I'm like, do you believe in it now?
If I was,
if
I was married, I would believe in it now. I would believe in it.
Because what's the point?
Would I be, as we're talking about love? Would I be okay if I was married and my husband was like, you know, this is other couple, let's just swap with them to be on the safe side, you know what I mean? I don't know if I would say no because it doesn't necessarily it doesn't seem natural to me. However, you know, the good book tells me it should be. Yeah. And quite frankly, at 53 years old, I don't need to be in nobody clinic every other week. Okay?
I know that's right.
So monogamy to a certain extent, you know,
Certainly
I-
not a
But let's be realistic.
I don't
How
know.
many? No, never
Am I
mind.
saying
Let me not even say
We're not
how many
talking about that.
53-year-old men really like you got to worry. I mean, if they can handle one, real life.
That is true.
How many of them got handling three?
But I guess
in a real way, they might think they are, but in real way.
But my question to you, Pew, is like, do you think your mother didn't remarry because she wanted peace because of that relationship, or did she not remarry because that was the love of her life?
She was good.
She was good. Like that was her soulmate, and
Period.
she's done. Period.
Yeah, period. I
Like,
did.
it was
My
a lot.
mom has said that my dad was the love
See,
of
that's
her
what I
life.
think for women.
And she
I think she was also tired.
Yeah,
she
I
was
did too.
tired.
I think it was
and
both. I think it was both.
It
I
was
mean,
a
she
lot,
loved her
right.
minimum and she's tired.
Yeah.
Because that's how I feel about my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, I love them, but I'm also like, I'm not,
Yeah.
if you have to grab my child now, I'm not going to be able
Right.
to.
But I think it's different
Think it's a whole lot.
for your mothers versus your fathers. I think mothers. I think if my mom is deceased and my dad is living, but I think we were reversed. I think my mother would not get remarried.
Men remarry.
Huh?
Men
remarry.
My father they need someone.
Baby.
But my mother would be
Baby.
like, I'm good. That was the love of my
I'm trying
life.
to get
I am
Lee
good.
Ashley over to the exact house now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm right now. Right now, as we speak, I'm trying. Because
Oh
I
my
think
God.
that.
But I think
But I
it's
don't-
companionship
social
versus
people,
love.
But I don't think they thought about it as love. It was more their duties. And
Is
what
it?
they
Oh,
did
absolutely.
with
What they're
their
used to.
family.
I mean,
It's
my
all they-
parents
yeah.
started dating when they were 18, 19.
Yeah,
My
they
father
didn't.
has never
Well,
been
and this is
alone
why
in his life.
marriage has changed
Right.
because marriage was not about being happy
Exactly.
or being in love.
It
Marriage
was-
was about security and
Security,
everything,
right.
which in a lot of ways, to me, ultimately, is what marriage is. What I, in my opinion, is marriage is partnership. Who can I call? Like the romantic shit and all this. You get married, most of us, but some of us, I don't know what level. I mean, some of these cultures might have had it right, this arranged marriage. Because you get married because you're in love, but that's certainly not what the fuck's going to keep you married.
Well, yeah,
Like,
I
in
think
love
it's
is not what
phases,
keeps you married.
Yeah, no.
It's the
Definitely
partnership that lasts.
It's the
Well, a little bit
partnership.
more than that.
Well, I have.
The partnership,
Whatever.
I agree.
Partnership gets
It's
you
the
through
partnership.
everything.
Whatever
fidelity.
that, whatever
No,
that.
fidelity. If you
depends on your
decided that this,
partnership.
if
It
you
depends on your
decided that this is because this is what people don't get. A man or a woman could screw 50 other people, but this is my life partner. This is the person that I am choosing to go through the real things in life with.
Right.
Is a
Right.
completely that commitment is a far stronger commitment than fidelity. Because sticking your dick or having someone stick their dick in you, I mean, as much as we try to make it this most sacred thing, and I'm not saying it doesn't mean
Right.
something, because it does.
Right.
But who the hell's gonna show the fuck up in your life in your worst of times? Who is my life partner? Who can I count on to bury the body,
Right.
pay the fine, show up at court, whatever? Who has my back? Who's gonna wipe my ass when I'm in the day? That life partner is the deepest commitment, and no one even understands they're making it. You don't even understand you're making it
That is
because
true.
who the fuck can? We don't even have an idea of what life can look like, right?
Right.
And so when no one tells you, like, well, yeah, but what about when he got the sugar? And what
Right.
about, when he loses his job? Or, what about, whatever
Yeah.
it is. And, for us too, that someone says, I want to do life with you is the thing. And I think this is why, you see so many women get upset because they think just because a person wants to experience them, they want them. That's two different things. I want to experience you for a moment, for whatever, but I want to do life with you, like
That's a whole
in the fuck. Because no one describes the fucked upness of life. Like no one tells you. You cannot even wrap your fucking brain about the fucked upness of life.
Right.
And I told you one of the things my mom said to me was like, because I swear that the universe tells us things, but we're not listening. But somehow I feel like the universe says, you need to have this bitch ready to be by herself by the time she's 27. I really do. So she's talking to me about shit that didn't make sense for her to talk to me about. And I remember her saying to me, people talk about marriage, and you think you're going to not like that person for a day. So it could be a year. It could be years. You might be like, I couldn't stand this motherfucker for between 2008 and 2009. I couldn't stand him. I wanted him to die. And I actually hired someone to kill him.
Michelle Obama said that.
Yeah. And I thought it was so, when she said that, I thought that was so
Real.
good.
It's
Real.
real, for
And
sure.
people need to hear it
Yeah.
because everybody bullshits. And even I tell people like Lisa, we brought her up tonight. Like even with raising kids, I told you that saved me because someone was real. That's getting off the subject. But when someone said, "Don't you just hate these motherfuckers sometimes?" I'm like, "Thank you for saying it," because I'm going to the clubs and everybody's like, "Oh my god," like, and I'm like, "Why did I have them? Like, is there a reason?" I mean, ultimately, I love them.
Right.
But I don't know. That's love anyway. But Kim, we haven't heard from you.
Well, I have both sides. So my mom's parents were divorced by the time I was born, I guess. And then my mom and dad met at college. My grandparents, my dad's parents, my granddad's
Forever.
like 9 years older than my grandma, went to the country, saw her, I'm gonna marry her, X, Y, and Z. And so I've seen divorce and I've seen love, love, love. So I've seen both, and I've been divorced, so I've seen that part of it too. But to me, love is, like you said, the partnership and sticking it out with that person through the thick and thin. Like my parents didn't live together at some point. My daddy loved my mom enough to say, "You go to tech, I'll grind it out. I'm gonna live in Grove with my mama, and I'm gonna come up the mountain whether it's snowing or not, and see my family on Friday, and drive all the way back down to Richmond on Monday." And so, the sacrifices that they do for each other, that's what I call love. And so that's what I wanted, but I didn't get that.
Right.
I got something else. I got what my other grandparents got. They, it was just crazy. So they used to fuss and fight all the time, and then here we got the other grandparents all nicey. So you nicey, lovey, it's Christmas, and you go over here, they're fighting. My mom's like, "All right, we're leaving in 10 minutes." I'm like, "Oh my God." So, I think my parents and my other grandparents shaped the way that I love not only men but people.
You are the most family-oriented person.
I have a real love, and when I love you for life. And I'm gonna, blow somebody's head off for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show up for you. I'm gonna borrow some money so I can go check on you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that kind of love just shapes who my whole family is. My brother, my sister, and
you have the most idyllic family I know.
Yeah.
I know, a lot of these truthing sessions I don't know the people, but your family is very idyllic in real, show up in a way I've never seen.
Yeah.
And I appreciate y'all being so loving to me. So I think there is some role models ish going on that all of you have said, this is how we fuck with one another, this is how we whatever. What I want my kids to have. Should I not be here? Have this. But
it's interesting. You got the lovey.
oh yeah, we're loving.
None of mine.
Super lovey.
None of my mother's side would be lovey, but they're present. They show up.
Y'all have each other's back.
We have each other's backs. Like
y'all
we show up, but it wasn't.
Y'all definitely
important.
take the commitment of family very
we
seriously.
take the commitment, but not the lovey.
Oh, my
I just saw that we were there.
were
Like
in
you
like
just
this
show up every day
big
for
as
each
big
other.
as this.
Obligatory.
Spooning
It's
each
obligatory.
other
Like
in.
you just show up.
I think that is a conversation.
There ain't no
that I
fighting
would've-
because you won't see each other. Like we don't do that.
Oh,
I'm
they
not
argue
speaking.
and stuff.
Oh, see, they're emotional, but
we would a light argument.
y'all are like my mom's family.
Yeah, a
very
light argument,
appropriate.
but it was the understanding of we don't do the I'm not talking to you,
Right.
I'm not messing with
Yeah.
you. Y'all gonna see each other next Sunday, so I don't know what that means for y'all, but we gonna be together whether you like them or not. But there wasn't that. That wasn't that loving on either side.
See, my mom grew up in a house that was a lot of drinking, a lot of fussing,
Oh, well,
and
we
when
had
she
to
met
drink.
my daddy, she said, "I will not do that. I will leave you.
You go the
I will
opposite.
not do that.
You want the peace.
I will not let my kids do that. I will not be having my children come home on Friday and scared that everybody's going to be fussing and fighting and drinking and carrying
The
on."
extreme makes
Well,
you
now
look
my,
like-
my,
And
my
so
mother did that
they
because
don't
her
do that.
her family was in a lot of ways dysfunctional, and she taught my father's family was functional, and she gravitated towards that side because, and she always said, I did not want what I had, like sitting home at night wondering when my parents were going to come home, like so she wanted the stability that my father gave her.
And this is why I think the question is a powerful one. I mean, not to pat myself on the head, but I believe that once you understand why you're making the decisions you're making, you have to decide, is this a reaction or an action?
Mm-hmm.
Like, have I resolved this? Am I in a place where, yes, I recognize that I'm this way because of this, but I'm making this decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're conscious of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Even if it's whack, you can say, okay, I'm comfortable. This is who I am. Or am I reacting? So as I've looked at a lot of the decisions I have made in my life, I have made decisions based on security because, you know, when your dad dies young, you're like, okay, I don't want to go through that again. So for some reason, I associated that with someone leaving you. So you pick, you just pick secure people, right? And not saying that that's a bad thing, but what I do in life, and not just with my relationships, but try not to make decisions based on fear, but based on faith, based on who I am, who God designed me to be, which is a challenge because my first response to a lot of things is to base it on fear when it comes to, you know, spending money. Although I'm sure no one has sensed that in me.
Oh no!
But I do have times where I'm like, oh shit. You know, but then I convince myself, girl, you're living in fear, honey. Be faithful that God is gonna give you some more money. You know, but like I really have to think about it because so that's why I mean the question is if you know from what you're coming, right? Because sometimes we're placing so much on people who aren't even around to make us the way we are, and it's not even, it doesn't match who we are. It's not even who we are. It's the reaction of who we've been. If that makes sense to it. And I think that we can't separate ourselves from our past. But we need to recognize it and make sure it's not having too much control over who we are.
Well, I think generational. Like I think that my grandmother, both of my grandmothers, and my mother were all about just family and security and
girl, but they say, well, when you have these young men saying, why is no one loving like my grandmother? Because she had no fucking other options.
She had no options.
She couldn't even legally buy a house without you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
So
that's the influence.
But it ain't that they better women. They didn't have other options. I
remember-
could have a house without you. I could buy a car without you.
Exactly.
I could buy a rose and be satisfied.
They saw it in a different way. I remember telling my grandmother that I was thinking about I was going to her for advice. Like, I think I want to get a divorce. This marriage is not. And her words were, we don't get divorced, but you just gonna get another man that's gonna do the same. You might as well stay with the one that loves you.
Yeah.
Literally. And I was like, okay, let me go. Because this is.
But there is some truth to some of that.
There is some truth.
No, because when I be talking to these young girls sometimes, and they be telling me who they're looking for, I'm like, well, when you find them, can you take a picture?
Yeah.
Can you come to a truth and say,
just
because I want the world to see him, because I ain't met that one who has everything.
But they stuck it
Like,
out. They were stronger.
Everything.
But they claimed the bullshit.
They weren't stronger. I wouldn't say they were stronger.
Well,
they were in different positions.
Maybe they claimed the bullshit because both of my grandparents were like, your grandfather wasn't this and this. He wouldn't have this house. There's nothing without me, right?
It was a partnership.
Well, I agree with that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they claimed what it was, that partnership, and that they weren't.
But that's like I tell you now, to y'all new generation of women, y'all be trying to be happy.
Yes, we do.
When y'all start talking about being happy, is when it went downhill.
Well, and I said that to my grandmother when I was trying to get this advice on divorce, and she's like, "Happiness? What? You better get. You got a man that that's happy. You got a man that loves you. I've seen it. I've looked at him.
My son went to graduate from college.
Like,
he said, "Don't you care about my happiness?" I said, "No, not really. No, not right now. Happy."
No.
I mean, did y'all talk about happy back then?
No.
When we graduated?
When I was 17.
No.
Were you in school? Was it about you being happy?
Nobody ever asked me.
You either going to military or college.
That was me.
Well, my father told me I wouldn't last a day in the military, so go ahead and focus on college.
When the fuck? As much as we talk,
it was not an option for me.
As much as we talk, did we ever have a conversation that said,
the word I don't
I'm
remember
not
that you
happy
were saying the word
today. Let's
happy.
talk about it.
Maybe she said happy holidays.
In a sense.
Maybe.
Now, here are your two options, and you can pick in between. Like, you either going to college or military.
No,
Now, which college you want to go to?
I had one choice.
No, we both came all the way 12 hours
That's what
down
I'm
the
saying.
damn road.
I had two choices: Hampton University or Tuskegee.
But even in college, what you gonna maintain it?
I never said it. Well,
even in college, what you gonna major in? Oh no, go pick something else because they ain't gonna make no money. I mean, just
I do
happy,
like
but
that.
I
Though.
wanted
Like,
to.
No, but I still agree with
don't
that
waste
shit.
the money.
This would make me happy, Daddy. No, that
Happy.
ain't gonna get you a job. You gonna get off
me
my
tell you
payroll.
Happy is new. That's a new.
It is.
I don't think that people understand that it's a
for real
new. I think
Well,
that
the
is
new
why.
generation is gonna be happy. They
Oh,
ain't playing
they
that.
will quit your job and I have no money.
No.
I am happier now. I don't understand it because I was happy to be eating and paying my
I
bills.
like getting that
honey.
paycheck.
Right. I think about happiness more now. But back to where we started about what's your family life, what's your your childhood talk to about relationships. I think that what's interesting right now is that there are people who are talking about being happy, women in particular, and I think there are a lot of men that are talking about, I'm a high valued man, and you're like, you are, yes, you're financially successful, but you have an Afro toupee,
Right.
and you have it, and you need to,
Or you don't want to do anything.
and you're only
you're bored.
and you're only able to get it up on the third Tuesday every month, and
That
that's
is not
after you've
happiness
had
for me.
honey and Hennessy, okay?
Yeah.
Or honey shit and Hennessy.
Well,
and
they
we're
have
not.
to get some sense of they're the shit still. Somebody out there likes that Afro toupee and all the things.
It's just
And
ain't
They don't like it. They just
It
have
just
better
ain't me.
acting skills. Ain't nobody liking that Afro toupee.
Their values are different.
they think they're the shit.
Their values are different.
They have
and
high-
maybe
No, but what
maybe
makes them
you
happy-
spend time with her.
The men on even Facebook dating or whatever.
They have a
think
lower
they have a
tolerance.
chance with
Tolerance.
people. They ain't
Yes,
bringing
they
nothing
do.
to the
Honey,
table.
let me tell you something.
And they treat
Then
you
the
like
back
you ought to be
part of
lucky to be
friends
sitting
now.
here with
They
me and my
think
Afro
about
toupee.
Because at one time, happy was just to have a man. Fuck what the man quality
That's true.
was. Even with marriage, you had succeeded. And you should be happy because you got married. It didn't even. I got a man, and you see some people when they talk about pick me's, they just want the man. They don't even give a shit if the man can't walk. They gotta drag the man with them.
I'm married now. That's all they care about.
They don't give a fuck, and that makes them happy, right? So,
No.
So that's what I mean by like, what did your relationships, what you saw growing up, teach you? And I think that my mother very much thought of men and everything in a way of what's going to make me happy. I think that she was like, what's going to work for me? And actually the happiness would be like, yeah, come by and then go the fuck home.
Right.
I think, I think some women settle for that. Like, they're like, this man is not giving me what I want. But I think some women choose that. And that is what's upsetting the world. Because they're like, what's wrong? She's just sad because
they've read the narrative and they are in demand.
They are in
and
demand.
There's scarcity and they're the only ones out there.
And they don't know.
Damn it, you want me, don't you? You
No.
know I'm my
No.
value. I'm the prize. Because we've
That's the
conditioned
thing.
them to
They think
believe
they're
that
the-
they are the prize. That's what society tells them. Because they're none of them. That's what they said. That's what they believe. I'm one of a few. You're blessed to have me.
Well,
They're really true.
They say that.
Listen, and don't have a job.
They say,
Don't have a job.
They say, I can, look at your friend so and so and so and so and so. They don't have men. You got me.
Oh, God. Oh.
And I'm like, and my friends are so happy with that. Like, they're the happiest of my friends. Of all the friends I got. Of all the friends I got. And I did
The ones who ain't got a you.
Right. And listen.
Worrying and upset. My friend worrying and upset them.
Literally, when you do the happiness surveys, married men are number one, single women are number two.
Wow.
Yes.
Right? But
The lowest on the happy scale is the married woman.
and
The lowest on that because they are servicing their husband, their children.
Right. Yeah,
Their happiness comes last.
right, absolutely,
Or doesn't
come at all.
Right.
or not come at all.
Literally
And so
doesn't
literally,
come
there's
at
no
all.
coming at all involved.
But you know
In
what
situation.
I've realized too is that who you are around, it's not necessarily your parents that influence what you do in love and what you see. Because I've tried to analyze it. Like, my father's this quiet little accountant, was home every night. But why do I like the party dude? Like the forever
But you
college
either
frat.
do the same or the opposite.
Oh no, it's my I was around my grandfather.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me one day when I was looking through something and I said, oh my first husband's birthday was on the same, first husband, I got a second.
Okay.
My
So you got a
ex-husband.
second?
No, I ain't got a second or third.
Girl, spill the tea. And we here.
I found my ex-husband's birthday was the same day as my grandfather. I said, "Oh my God." My grandfather had a little more spice to life, card playing, beer drinking, fun. Jack Daniels, get the party started. I was like, my grandfather influenced my choices of what I liked in men more than my father, because I was with my grandfather a lot. So he had that. I was like, I like the life of the party and not this safe, secure dude that comes home every night. I'm gonna go after the fun. Like, it doesn't always work out. Most of the time it doesn't. But I was like,
but it may work out if you're. I think sometimes people think their shit is not working out because you're looking at it through a very narrow lens of what it's supposed to be, right? Which I think young people have now redefined. I mean, almost too much. I don't know, but what genuinely is going to make you happy? Because I always tell people, in my experience, and don't get me wrong, I believe very much in marriage and believe, that I had a very blessed marriage. But I believe that, women get the short end of the stick in marriage, right? It was created by men very clearly. And so I was like, sometimes people are smarter than we think. We think marriage is the prize. And it's it, but like, you're the one who's like, I feel like doing twice the work.
I always feel like I needed
maintaining
I needed a wife.
I would like to have a man.
That's why they have sister wives.
Girl, if I can have a man,
get with it.
That's what I needed.
Seriously,
I mean, can they get laundry? Do they do laundry?
Yeah, exactly.
Can they go? Yeah.
Organize my life.
Organize my life. Just tell me what I need to do and where I need to be, please.
So if you, just to sum up everybody, if you could give me a couple of words, or if you want to give me more than a few, what you would say your childhood taught you about Black love?
Unconditional.
Unconditional. Really, that's beautiful.
I would say consistent. Consistency. Just being there. Being a partner. I can depend on you.
I talked about what I learned or what I knew what I didn't want. But as I look at them today, my parents are still together. And I look at that love.
That's loyalty.
Unconditional. It's loyal.
It's loyal.
It's I have your back. And
no matter
it's also I forgive you.
It's
a lot. It's a lot.
It's forgiveness.
And it's also we grow together. We've grown together.
That's deep.
That's it. That's deep.
That's what I see. So I saw basically the bad, the ugly, and now I see the good.
And what I do see
If you
today
ride it
is
out.
If you ride it out.
But I also think with that ride it out, I do think with my parents, if I look at this today, they would make the same choices. They would be with the same person.
They would.
Bad, good, happy, or whatever. They would do that choice all over again. It's just security.
I mean, I would say it's unconditional. It's loyalty and sacrifice. I think our parents sacrificed a lot for us, and so their parents sacrificed for them, and so we sacrifice for our children. And so my parents are on the other side of this marriage, where my mom's taking care of my dad, and there's a lot of sacrifice, there's a lot of give and take. But there were times when I think back that my dad was, I was at Tuskegee, my mom was at Tech. My dad's the only one making money. And so it was a sacrifice then, and so they take turns sacrificing. And so I mean,
you understand
my
more
sister
now.
definitely has a marriage like my parents, I would say. And then, of course, I got divorced. So,
Cheers
right.
to divorce.
I'm my grandmother and my other granddad.
Well, but do you think
then-
that's because of a different understanding of what marriage
I think
is?
our
And then I
worlds are
think-
so very different now.
Our words are different.
Yeah.
And what we know and our capacity and what we can do and our independence. Now we still have that, we like to be loved.
Yes.
In some way, shape, or form, whatever it looks like for us.
Yes.
But I think our perspectives are so very different. Our world has changed.
Our world has changed.
And so it's not going to be your grandmother's love. It's not going to be your mother and father's love.
No.
It's just going to be different.
It's just your love.
It's your love.
And your love is
Exactly.
always,
Exactly.
any love you have.
Exactly. And I think that's what we have to remember, what works for us. To
works
find
for
our
us.
peace or happy,
And
whatever.
cheers
it
to,
is.
and kudos to us for being, because it's hard. It's hard to say, I don't want to be in this marriage. I'm going to leave because I want to be happy, or I don't want to accept this. It's hard as shit.
Or because when you do that, you don't even know if you're going to be happy in the other
You don't even know what's on the other side.
But you know what? I think we just cheered because in our own thing to divorce, right? Because sometimes
it's needed.
It's needed. and I want to say that. I want to say this, because there are also a group of people that are married. They're on social media. They're on social media, and they have these wonderful storybook.
They just had the
marriages,
best Valentine's Day.
All the things.
Glimpses, they just had the best. They got
I'm going to tell you,
chocolate.
When that is gone,
exactly,
and day to day, they are in relationships that are beyond abusive, controlling, and all that. And I say that because
that's the main one.
Even though my mother divorced my dad, it takes. There's equal strength in saying, okay, I don't want that. But sometimes there's that equal, I don't know, misguided that I'm married. I have the ring, I have the husband, I have the this, and you have the nothing. But your life, there's no sense of happiness. I don't know what that is.
That's something I want to hit on, and I don't know if it's love, or maybe it's self-love, is that I think that I have never let my marriage or dating status or whatever define me. I mean, maybe I want it or don't want it or whatever, but not define who I am in the world. And as I have had friendships, I don't really like people who are defined by their marital status. Like, that annoys me.
Because it could change like that.
It could change like that. And I do understand, I do understand the privilege of marriage that comes. I don't think people talk about that, but it's a very, the society is set up for married people. And that's, that's real. So I understand the privilege of it. But I also understand being happy, and I understand, the commitment, but I don't understand people who judge people based on where they are because they may have chosen to stay in a shitty ass marriage where somebody has chosen to leave a marriage that was less shitty. Right? You know, and it's just different, people, and going back to what we learned and what they value. And what I have learned is that some people choose marriage specifically because they chose marriage. They didn't even choose the man. They didn't choose love. And they didn't choose happiness. Yes. They just chose marriage, which honestly I think makes the best married people, in my opinion.
Because they have a comment. They're in it.
What's the commitment to marriage, right? And that's cool. But I don't know. But what I will say when I think about my parents is that what I do think they gave me when they were together, actually, from what I can. They really had respect for people's individuality. Like, my parents weren't the same religion. They were very different jobs. And even back in the 70s, they're giving each other's freedom to be who they individually were, which is what I believe ultimately works. And what I believe is the real love. Like, it's the love I'm learning with raising kids. But I thank y'all for truthing with me tonight about
Good question.
Love and what it taught us. I do think it's a question.
That was a deep question.
Thank you very much for truthing with Randi.
Thought-provoking.
Cheers. Cheers.